Big food news today is that, and now this is, I want to get this exactly right because it's a place that's near and dear to my heart.
And many.
And many. It's called, see if you've heard of this restaurant, Dave. Chick-fil-A.
They started in the malls.
Yes, they did. They're out, though. They're nationwide now.
They've been around.
Chick-fil-A says, now, in 2014, they made a commitment and a promise to their customers. We will only use antibiotic-free chicken going forward, period. They said within 5 years, it'll be 100% antibiotic-free, and it was. By 2019, they had gone to completely antibiotic-free chicken.
You got to work those antibiotics out. It takes about 5 years.
It takes 5 years. They squeezed all the antibiotics out of those chickens. Okay? Run them out.
Yeah.
5 years later, they were serving antibiotic-free chicken.
Clean as a whistle.
Clean chicken for
Nugs,
the
sandwiches,
every bit of it.
breakfast.
Every bit of it.
Everything.
They announced on Friday, we're putting the antibiotics back in.
Our breasts,
I don't know what we were thinking.
our breasts aren't as big as they were. People are complaining.
Do you know how expensive that chicken is without it? Is it a money thing?
It is. It is a money thing, Chris. No, they said that they have looked at this and they find it will be difficult to fulfill that commitment because it's so much more difficult to get antibiotic-free chicken, and the demand is too much for the supply. Is what they say.
They have to buy they have to buy chickens from a chicken farm.
I guess,
Chick-fil-A doesn't
yeah.
have their own chicken farms.
Well, McDonald's does, don't they? Have their
It sure seems like Chick-fil-A is big enough that they could have their own.
yeah, and do it
Set one of those,
and do it
yeah,
that way.
set up
right?
one of them things down in Atlanta.
I feel like when we've talked about antibiotics and chicken before, people have said that's like, you see that on packages when you go to the store. Our chicken's antibiotic free. But people call and say that that's just a selling technique, that there's no antibiotics in chicken anyway. That government outlawed it years ago. So I don't know what to believe here.
Well,
I think you're mixing up hormones and antibiotics.
hormone
Maybe.
because Chick-fil-A does
hormones
say,
are illegal.
Yeah.
Have been illegal for decades.
the statement from Chick-fil-A says, as we look to the future, the availability of high-quality chicken that meets our rigid standards have become a concern. So this change enables us not only to ensure we can continue to serve high-quality chicken, but also chicken that still meets the expectations our customers count on us to deliver, meaning they'll have enough chicken. You know, but they are going to have some antibiotics in it. Now, Tyson Foods in 2015 made a pledge of no antibiotics ever. Last year, they said, yeah, we're going to have to start getting some antibiotics back. So, same thing.
Too many chickens are dying. It's costing them too much money.
Is that what you think
That's
it
what
is?
it's got to be.
Yeah, I think the antibiotics keep the chickens a bigger percentage of them alive.
Maybe you're right.
And
To
if
get
they don't
to the-
have them,
To get to the butcher?
then they don't make it. Breasts ain't big enough.
I suppose
They die
that's
too
right.
young.
I suppose
Yeah.
that's right. So they have come back with antibiotic-filled chicken at both Chick-fil-A and Tyson
This
Foods.
is bad for the children, isn't it? Isn't that why they said the kids started going into puberty earlier and
because
stuff?
of the antibiotics.
I think that's always just been whispered.
Or maybe it was hormones. I don't know, but
Oh,
I always
yeah.
thought that was the case, that it affects everybody, because if you take antibiotics, they're not going to work because you ate too much damn chicken.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I do know that has been talked about. You know, I don't think it's ever been proven, but it's
Yeah,
been
I don't
talked
know
about.
what the
I don't know.
But there was speculation that kids were going into puberty early because we were eating food that had these types of additives in there.
What do they do? Put it in the feed, or they actually go by and
Give
give
them
all of them a shot?
Give them a little shot.
That's a lot of chicken to shoot.
And I bet they put it in the feed, put antibiotics in
I
the
would
feed.
think.
I guess. But Chick-fil-A has gone back. They made a promise, and they tried their best to keep that promise. And
gone it.
Will that affect your household, Kelly? There's a lot of chicken consumption there.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll notice. We'll still go to chicken and pickles as we always have, I'm sure. And I doubt we notice. Although Dave told me he thought the chicken nuggets were getting smaller.
Probably were.
And maybe that's why. Maybe they're not. I have no idea. You know, I mean,
At least they're upfront about it.
you said they were being. Remember that? You said their nuggets and their sandwiches were getting more mealy.
Yeah.
And now maybe they'll have to
Maybe
look.
the overhang's back, the giant
Maybe so.
overhang.
Maybe the
That's right.
giant.
Everything
yeah.
you missed is back.
Maybe
I bet
so.
right now people are like, oh my gosh, but wait till you start getting an extra, fourth of a pound on your chicken.
That's probably. We'll probably like it better, honestly.
Yeah.
When they start giving us back the chicken. Here's the other email. This doesn't. Well, I can't say it hits me very hard, but a P1 listener says, I want reaction to this. This is not for Titillation Tuesday. It's more like a miserable Monday. I'm a teacher, and I want teachers' opinions on this. Parents, please make your middle school kids take a bath, take a shower before they come to school. I'm teaching 11 and 12-year-olds, and they stink, and I don't think they know it. I walk into the classroom, and it's like getting hit in the nose with a baseball bat of ass.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I had to say it. That's true. By that age, you've got to start doing that stuff.
Yeah, but Mom ain't washing you then.
Yeah.
You're washing yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they don't know what they're doing.
That's a tough transition time.
That's a tough time.
When do you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't remember when I started showering regularly.
Mm-hmm.
I know I didn't get shower before grade school.
Mm-hmm.
I think
we would
probably
take a bath the night
13, 12 or
before.
13.
So 13, you start showering every morning.
I think so.
I do too.
And every morning and not at night, like taking a bath every night.
She says, do it and make your kids shower
They
better.
stank.
She's like getting hit, that's the term, a baseball bat of ass every time I walk into my classroom,
line.
she says. It is. Pierce, you're talking about chickens getting antibiotics. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. P1 here. A friend of mine has a chicken farm, and they used to put the antibiotics in the water.
Oh.
Those chickens gain a pound a week, and after about between 8 and 9 weeks is when they harvest those chickens and take them to the market.
Yeah, it's not
In the
long.
water.
Now you got to move them.
You know, we learned that about probably 15 years ago on this show, that it's that quick that chickens grow up and get onto your table. They don't live very long.
No time.
Thank you, Pierce. Appreciate that. And I remember I had a tear rolling down my cheek
Yes.
because I have consumed so many of those.
Right down into your beak.
Yes. Rob, you're talking about chicken antibiotics as well. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Love y'all shows, by the way.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, like I was telling Biggie, I was in the chicken industry for several years, and chickens get antibiotics from the time they get 2 weeks within getting into the house from being biddies up until about 6 to 8 weeks before they're shipped out. It usually takes about 6 to 8 weeks for all the antibiotics to get worked out of the system in chickens. So technically, all chickens in supermarkets and restaurants are antibiotic free.
Okay, because they take them early and then it gets out of their system.
Interesting.
But I wonder if Chick-fil-A's commitment was like no antibiotics ever. If that's what
At
they
any
were
point.
at any point is probably
That's
what they
probably
were.
what it was.
But they've stopped that now. They can't do it now
Mm-hmm.
because so many get them. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate that. We have a teacher on the line, a P1. We got that email that said this is for a miserable Monday. Parents, make your school kids take a shower before they come to school every morning. They start to stink at age 11. I know. I teach 11 and 12-year-olds. A teacher wants to comment on it. Go ahead. Yes.
Good morning. This is not going to be a popular opinion. I don't expect it to be, but the best way to get a kid to stop being smelly in your classroom is to call them out on it in front of all their friends. Say, you are the stinky kid right now.
Whoa.
Please take a shower. Use deodorant. I know it sounds harsh. They stop. They realize it because they care about their peers and what they think.
Yeah.
They stop being the smelly kid.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's. I mean, if a kid comes home and says Mr. Johnson's called me stinky in front of everybody,
Yeah. Then you get
Mr. Johnson's in front of the
Then they address it.
But you'd get in trouble for doing that if the parents could get really mad.
No.
No? Okay, all right.
Take away.
Okay, good for you. I mean,
Mostly boys, yeah, that stink.
what do you think? Mostly boys? Our teacher friend? Oh, he's gone. He left. Yeah, he can only say that. I think at that age.
Boys stink.
God,
from the
horrible.
age of about 8 until
What
19.
What Tina Fey say? Doritos and feet
Yeah.
from age like at 15.
Yep.
That's what you smell like.
Now, your wife Kelly was taught for a time. Was it middle
That
school?
age. Yeah.
Did she ever have any issues?
She never mentioned that to me, but probably because in a classroom of she probably had 15 or 16 in there, half boys. And, we used to, when we go out for recess and then come back in at that age, smelled horrible.
Yeah, you don't notice it until you notice it.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
you're like, ugh.
Like I remember the first kid in our class who I remember having BO, and his initials were MD. I don't want to say his name.
Right.
Yeah.
'Cause he might be listening, but it's like, oh my God, he stank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
And
really
he was young. I mean,
Yeah.
we were maybe fourth grade at that point. So what is that?
10, I would say.
Yeah.
Everybody gets it at a different age.
Boy, and when you get into that middle school, like you start going to gym class and you go in the locker room, it smells like old sweat.
yeah.
That locker
That
room.
stink never leaves.
Oh, it does. It's like baked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you go in there and you're like, what is that? That's old sweat.
Especially spring and
Oh,
late
yeah.
summer, early fall.
When
it
you're
just
out on the
sticks, you're outside.
on
you
the
gotta take a
track
shower
or
the
whatever,
next
they go
day.
back in.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's horrible. There were times too I would really sweat like at recess or gym class, and then have to go to the next class of math, and I was dripping sweat on my papers.
Yeah.
It was
Maybe that's
awful.
why I didn't have any dates in high school until I was a senior.
It could have been that.
Could
Because
be.
my freshman year of high school, gym class was the last period, which was the best.
Yeah,
Because
that's good. You're going
you
home.
leave
Going
you
home.
leave and you're stinky, but you leave.
Yeah.
But I think my sophomore year, the last year we had gym class, I think it was like second or third period.
Right.
Which is terrible.
The whole rest of the day.
The whole rest of the day you stank.
Jennifer,
But you don't know.
You're talking about stinking at a young age. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Yes. Hey, good morning. Jennifer P1 from Greensboro.
Thank you.
First time on the air. I taught middle school and I teach high school now. And it is, when y'all said it's probably just the boys, it is definitely not just the boys.
Oh,
really?
Yes. And in high school, even, there are several kids that are can be, potent.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing, too, they don't wash their clothes. They wear the same hoodie for a week.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
Yeah. God.
or longer. We took some kids out of the country, and I had to ride beside a boy who just needed to wash his jacket. I mean, nobody wanted to sit beside him. We were sat in alphabetical order, though. And so it was me.
There you are. There you are.
It's, yeah.
Would you do what a previous caller said and call them out in front of their peers to try and stop it?
I would not do that. I was going to tell you what my sister, we used to work at a daycare, and she had the fifth graders, and she kept a deodorant in her drawer, and she would pull it out and say, "This is deodorant. It is your friend." But she wouldn't call anybody out. She would just give a public service announcement to the whole group.
Yeah.
She'd be like, "I got a stinky kid again. I got to give my deodorant talk."
Yeah.
That's well handled.
Maybe that's
Clever.
the way to do it. Thanks, Jennifer. Appreciate you listening and calling in. First timer. Always good to have you on. Anonymous, you're talking about kids and stank, at least according to one P1 listener who's a teacher. Go ahead. Anonymous, are you
there?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. P1, love the show.
Thank you.
Just want to talk about how back in the day, you're in the locker room, it was masked by Axe body spray.
Yep.
And so now whenever they come in the classrooms, it hits you like a baseball bat. But whenever you're an administrator and they come into the office, you got to have your bottle of Febreze ready to go whenever they leave, so it will stay in the office for a long time.
That's too bad.
Oh, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Anonymous. Yeah.
All we had was right guard.
That's all we had was right guard.
And
right.
Sure. We had a couple guys playing. Oh, you sure?
I bet Axe. Do you think it makes it worse because they just cover up the odor with the Axe?
It probably works for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's
and
what
then
I
I think
think.
later in the day it just kind of
It's bad.
Yeah, then
Anonymous,
it mixes
thank
with
you.
the stink.
Great phone call. Tony, you're talking about kids smelling badly. Go ahead.
I own goats and I teach high schoolers. High schoolers smell worse.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Enough said.
That's it then. Yeah, that's
Mic drop.
One more quick call. Uncle Jack, you're talking about kids smelling. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Uncle Jack P1. I live in a small town, and I went to school, elementary school, in the late 60s, and our local polling place to vote is in the school gymnasium. And whenever I walk in now to vote, it still smells the same way it did back in the late 60s.
Yep.
And it just hits you in the face when you walk right in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
It never goes away. It never changes.
Never.
There's one thing that doesn't change, They say change is
You can
always
count on
That's
it.
one thing. Thanks, Uncle Jack.
Haven't heard
Appreciate
from
it.
him in a while.
I know. Good to hear from him. I told you what my mother did. She discreetly left a jar of Tussie
Yes.
on my nightstand.
That's
That's
the
right.
the cream deodorant that
Yes,
you
it's
apply with your
cream.
fingers to your armpits
Cream/balm.
That's correct. It was a nice white cream.
and
looked
hair
like-
tonic
Like
when, if
anything left
necessary.
like a
Slick it down. Slick her down.
It's like a
Fix that cowlick, son.
Yep.
like a sour cream or
Yes.
Yes.
something like that. You just dip a couple of fingers in, using my middle and ring finger, and
That's
take
right.
it right to the pit,
Mm-hmm.
and it got nice and worked in there.
They still make it.
I don't know that they make Tussie anymore.
I hadn't seen it on the
They
shelf.
make Tussie.
I always had the red jar, but there was a blue jar too. And I don't know what the difference was. Maybe one was
Menthol?
Menthol.
No, it's still there.
Is it still there? It's still.
Yeah,
you still
looks
have,
like you can buy it.
still
God
have,
knows where, but yeah,
still have Tussie.
Applied by hand?
it's a red jar.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a red top.
Let's order some.
That's
Yeah.
my Tussie.
Crazy.
Tussie deodorant cream original.
She had told me about 10 days before. You smell of pencil shavings.
Yes.
Is what she said.
Still BO.
And then later,
BBO.
about 10 days later, discreetly tucked in next to my alarm clock and my football phone,
Yeah.
there was my Tussie. I said, okay.
They do have the blue top as well. That's
Okay.
powder fresh.
Let's order one of each and keep it in here.
Is
For
that-
PV Shack.
What?
So one's powder fresh. Is that
and
what
one
the-
just says original.
Okay, well, that's
Oh.
a
Original
little
scent.
extra there for the blue. I always had the red jar, original scent.
Yeah, extra strength.
Guess so. She looked out for me, I guess she was probably serving my Pop-Tarts one morning.
And herself.
Yes.
Congratulations, you got your boy period.
Yes. That's right.
You're going through the change, honey.